In my testing of different webinar platforms, one feature that has appeared, and there's kind of a new feature, is that many of them have some kind of a marketplace or a way for you to publish your webinar. And in some cases, this is explicitly advertised as a benefit. You'll get a greater audience because you can publish your webinar and people will find your webinar and you can use it for lead generation and such. In this video, I'm going to explain why this is something I don't take very seriously. Hello, I'm Shane Milach from activegrowth.com. And of course, if you're doing webinars, you want a large audience. It's all things considered, it's usually better to have a full room with hundreds of people, whether you're doing something to just provide value, teach content, or whether it's a sales webinar, more people is always better. And so, of course, providers of webinar services are trying to use that for their marketing. And they're saying, look, you can publish your webinar on our thing and you'll get more customers. Here's the kind of thing I mean. So GoToWebinar has a thing called Go to Stage. This is what it looks like. And here we have listings of webinars. And so if I'm interested in one of these, I can click on it and it basically shows me that replay video. So that's Go to Stage. That's the GoToWebinar version of this. Another one is Crowdcast. They have Discover, where on the site you can click on Discover here and it gives you a list of these webinars. Let's see what that looks like when I click on it. First of all, it takes a long time. Takes a very long time. And there we are. For a simple registration page like that, took a long time, but here I can sign up. Next up, Webinar Ninja. They have a thing called Webinar Finder. Same kind of idea. Final example, Webinars on Demand by Webinarjam. Again, same idea. So this is the type of thing I'm talking about. So whenever you're creating a webinar, you can check a box to say, publish my webinar on the directory or something like that. In testing all these different webinar tools, of course, the question is, well, should I rate this as a positive? Is that something I should take into consideration? And for me, the answer is basically no, because none of these directories have what it takes to make a believable case to me that it's going to help me grow my audience. So why is that? Well, there's a couple of things that are missing from these directories that are necessary for them to be able to actually drive traffic to a webinar that you list there. The factors that I need any such directory would need in order to succeed are search, discovery, community, and traction. Here's what I mean. If we go to Stage again, of course, there's a search function and they basically all have that. So if I'm interested in lead generation, I can do a search for that and I will get a bunch of results. These directories tend to have rudimentary search functions, but they're nothing as refined as a search function on something like YouTube, which really takes all kinds of measures to deliver fast results, deliver relevant results, and try to give you something that you'll engage with. This is just a very simple keyword search, and it's not likely to be something that really gets people to come here and stick around. But more important is discovery. If you look at a directory that can generate traffic, such as YouTube or even something like Amazon, look at how much effort they put into discovery. And discovery is different from search. Here's what I mean. Let's look at the Webinarjam directory as an example. There's language and category selection. I can choose among a couple of fairly broad categories. So let's do eco-friendly and green lifestyle. That gives me a couple of webinars here. First of all, there's very little to go by here. I can see a short title, I can see a short description, and then a button that says register, but basically I still want to learn what this is. And the register button will take me to some kind of a landing page. And on this landing page, there's no connection to anything else on the directory. And this is the main problem. Look at what YouTube does as a comparison. So first of all, they're already trying to show me a bunch of stuff that's relevant to me. Even though I'm signed out, there's photography stuff here. So that tells me they basically, based on my IP or something, they know that this is something I'm interested in right away. So they're showing me a curated results page right away. And if I go here and I go something like green living, it will show me results that are based on what is most likely to get my engagement. And if I go into one of these videos right here, first of all, look at how quickly this loads. And look at how much screen space related videos get. Because YouTube wants to make sure that I stick around on YouTube. And if I like this video, I'm going to keep watching. It's going to autoplay the next one. And if I don't, it's giving me all these choices, all these options of what to do next. And if we get to the end of the video, the creator can add in these video things here. And if we let it play to the very end, then there are more related videos if I cancel the autoplay. So YouTube is doing their darndest to make sure I discover more stuff. On one of these directories here, this just doesn't happen, right? If I click through to something, it takes me to a landing page of some sort. And on this landing page, I'm completely disconnected from the rest of the directory. And there's just no convenient way to go back or to find something else that's related. And there's no way to find out what is popular, what is trending, what is getting high engagement. So this is just not a good place for discovery. And that's also true for creators, because if you want to get traction on a platform as a creator, there has to be a way for you to kind of win at the game. There has to be a way for you to make the best content for a specific keyword or the best content on a topic, and to be promoted and put in front of people by the platform. This is essentially how the attention game works online. The third factor is community. And again, YouTube can serve as an example of how to make that work. On YouTube, we have all these community factors like subscribers and comments and things like that, like ratings and so on, where people engage with the content in some way. And people create a YouTube account to save their favorites, to save their playlists, and so on. On these platforms, the closest thing I could find is from Webinar Ninja. Here, there's top creators. But look at this. I can only subscribe, right? I see a name and I can subscribe. Even if I go through to view all, I can't click on one of these names and see what kind of content they've made and what kind of content they have coming up. I can simply read a name and choose to subscribe. And that just makes no sense. Who's going to subscribe here? I think there's also a problem just with the nature of webinars. You know, one of the good things about webinars, or one of the benefits of webinars, is the fact that they're live. You get to interact and so on. And so a directory of webinar replays is just not that valuable, because if I'm going to watch long form content, I probably don't want to watch a webinar recording unless I know the creator and I have a strong reason to engage with that person's content, just because it's just not that polished, right? And kind of watching a live recording of something which isn't super polished content, it's long content, it's not as enjoyable as watching long form content of basically any other kind. And even for initial engagement with new content, it's questionable that whether I want to go out and go and sign up to a webinar kind of as my first point of contact with someone. So in that sense, a webinar directory will have to work extra hard to give people a reason to actually come here and seek out webinars and subscribe. And that brings me to the fourth point, which is traction. The only way this is really going to work out for me as a webinar creator in my favor is if this platform, if this directory has traction. So if there is traffic coming there, if it's a real and serious traffic source, people are browsing, people are searching, and I should also have some kind of insights tool to find out what are people searching for, what's popular on the platform, and so on, so that then I can make some content in order to try and capture part of that audience. Again, it's not necessarily an endorsement of this kind of thing, but that's how the attention game works. So these are the reasons why, to me, these webinar directories and the ability to publish a webinar, it's just not a relevant factor when choosing a webinar platform. And when you see this advertised as a big benefit, take that with a grain of salt. I would certainly not choose a webinar platform because it has a directory over another one if it doesn't. That's just not going to be a relevant factor. Now, it's fair to say that most of what I've talked about here is speculation, and I'm happy to change my mind if one of these platforms is willing to provide some numbers and basically open up some research function. If you can show me how much traffic you get, if I can see what keywords people are searching for and so on, and you can show me that your platform does have traction, then I am gladly going to eat my words, and I'm going to make a tutorial on how to use it and how to do it right instead. So in case this video reaches people who make these platforms and advertise these features, that's my challenge to you. Now, show us the numbers, give us some discovery and search features, and like I said, I'm gladly going to retract my opinion. Long story short, I think for webinar hosts, this kind of stuff simply doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter whether you publish your webinars or not. What you should pay attention to are, good engagement and marketing features and good stream quality on whichever webinar platform you choose. Thank you for watching this rather geeky piece of content about webinars. Let me know what you thought by leaving a comment below.